welcome to another episode of Beyond the Ball, episode number 3 of season 6. I am your host, Collie. As you can tell, I'm on my own. Paddy and Connor have both flown off to a different country. Now, Connor's going to be getting onto a gay cruise, but Paddy's sitting by the pool. We will have a few check-ins from Paddy along the way as well. So, yeah, we'll be in touch with them. So you're going to be listening to me for the whole episode. You're going to be bored out of your tits, but look, that's just the way things is. No one wants to listen to a Chelsea fan, but unfortunately, you don't have a choice if you're listening now. On this week's episode, or on today's episode, we're going to be looking at the Premier League review. We're going to have a look at the first week, game week 1. We're going to go through a couple of the games in a bit more deeper detail, and then we'll have a look. We'll have a look at all the results, and we'll say whether we thought we were surprised or not. When I say we, I mean the royal we, because I'm on my own. So yeah, we're going to look at the Premier League review, and then we're also going to be having fans' opinions. So we put out a question to the fans on Instagram, and we want to know how did your team perform? What was your shock result? And also, was there anything, or your highlight as well? So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to jump into the Premier League review. Okay, so first game up was Burnley versus Manchester City. Did it go exactly how we planned? Absolutely. Was there anything that was surprising? The only thing I was really surprised at was that Jack Grealish didn't even play one single minute. Not surprisingly, Erling Haaland gets off to a flyer, 2 goals. Second finish was an absolute joke of a goal. The first one was nicely taken, but the second one was just absolutely incredible. Very surprised at Burnley. I thought they might have shown a bit of a better defensive display, but I don't think, going off first judgments, I don't think they're going to be in trouble this season. I think they're going to be okay. I think Man City again just look really, really strong. But unfortunately, the same old story for Kevin De Bruyne. At the start of the season, he picks up another injury. Not surprising. It happens every fucking year. But Manchester City always seem to get through it. Kovacic was the man that came on. Not a bad replacement to have, to be honest with you. One of the best European midfielders you're going to see this season, and I guarantee you that. So yeah, Manchester City 3-0 against Burnley. Am I surprised? Absolutely not. Erling Haaland already cementing his place in there for the top goal scorer of the season. So we'll see how that one plays out. Okay, on to game number 2. It was Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. This finished 2-1 to Arsenal. Not surprised again. Nketiah getting on the score sheet. I was surprised that Nketiah started up front. I had Kai Havertz in my fancy football, and I did think that they might play him in the number 9 role because he has played there for Chelsea, and he did play there for Arsenal pre-season, but he was shit. He scored, but it left a lot to be desired because there was a couple of sitters that he missed. So it's a bit surprised that Nketiah started. Saka and Nketiah actually getting on the score sheet. Fair play to them. A big blow for Arsenal. Their new signing Timber went off injured, so that wasn't a good sign for them. Wasn't surprised by this result, to be honest with you. The one highlight and the one spark that I saw for Nottingham Forest was Elanga. When Elanga came on, he seemed to change the game. He got the ball, he got at them, and he created a goal straight away. So he is one that could be worth actually getting into the fantasy football, because I can see him creating problems for defenders, and I won't be surprised if he racks up points. I'd say he's probably going to be, if he does play as recently as I think he's going to be, he's probably going to be one of Forest's top scorers in the fantasy football this season. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. But other than that, 2-1 to Arsenal, not surprised. We'll move on. Next one up, Bournemouth versus West Ham. 1-1. I'm not surprised by this one at all. I don't have much to say on this game. West Ham, I don't know if they're going to be... I don't think they're going to... They may struggle this season. They may genuinely struggle. The same with Bournemouth as well. I don't see Bournemouth having a cracking season. I don't see them finishing any higher than maybe 13th or 14th. And I'd probably just raise the bar slightly on West Ham and say 11th or 12th. I can't see them going anywhere above that, which is worrying for them. But 1-1 in this one, not surprising. We'll move straight on. Okay, next one up, Brighton versus Luton. Am I surprised by this result? Absolutely not. Luton, a surefire team to go straight back down 4-1, shows that is exactly why it's going to happen. A couple of good points to know. Debut goal for João Felix. Would you believe I just said that?
You fucked up.
João Pedro, debut goal. Good to see it. And then Evan Ferguson, who I thought wasn't going to start. I had a feeling he wasn't going to start because Danny Welbeck was on fire over the preseason. Danny Welbeck comes off. Evan Ferguson comes on and scores. A nightmare because some of the people I was playing fancy football with had Evan Ferguson. So I thought it was the dog's bollocks. Evan Ferguson comes on, scores, sickens me. Not surprised by this result. Again, like I said, Luton, I don't see them getting up to much this season. I see them finishing rock bottom. I don't see them picking up any more than... I actually think it might, they'd be doing well to get 25 points. I can't see them getting any more than that. That's being generous. So we'll move off that one and move straight on to the next one. Everton versus Fulham. Oh, I fear big time for Everton this season. They've been getting away with it for the last 2 years, and this season I think is going to be the one that really, really tests them. Not a good start. Losing your first game at home, it just sets a bad standard straight away. It puts the mood in camp right down. On the other hand, Fulham getting an away result against Everton, who you probably wouldn't have expected to beat them. Class. Unbelievable to see. I had Leno in goal for the fancy football. 7 points, please. Thank you very much. Am I surprised by this one? I was a little bit. I probably predicted the draw. I can't really remember, but wasn't expecting a Fulham win. Definitely not. So not much else to add on to this one. We'll move swiftly on to the next one. Okay, next one up, Sheffield United and Crystal Palace. I don't know how I thought Crystal Palace were going to start off this season, to be honest with you. I probably thought they were going to be a little bit slow out of blocks. 1-0 result against Sheffield United. I don't see Sheffield United doing too bad this season, but I was surprised that they actually lost this game. I did think there was a draw coming up on the cards, but fair play to Crystal Palace. They got the job done. Can't argue with that. A 1-0 win away from home as your starting game is unbelievable. And Edward getting on the score sheet for them in the 49th minute. So overall, fair play to Palace. Hodgson, I think he forgot he was about 75 years of age and was trying to start a fight. Fair fucks to him. You got to respect it. But why? Know your limits. Moving on to the next one. Probably the biggest shock of the week. Newcastle and Aston Villa. 5-1 to Newcastle. Am I surprised? This is the way I can only put it for this one. I'm not surprised that Newcastle have beaten Villa, but I genuinely thought Villa had strengthened in the summer and they should have had a much better go at this one. I feel like they folded, they gave up. It was heartless. It was a lack of desire. I don't know whether they took it for granted that they were going to get a result from this game, but Newcastle came off fucking firing. A lot of good things shown for Newcastle. Tonali, again, a debut goal, looked very good. Isaac getting on the score sheet, which again, people were saying he might not be as good this season. Didn't show any of it. 2 goals for him. Harvey Barnes and Callum Wilson. 3 or 4 of them players are the players that you would expect to score for them every single week. 3 strikers, Isaac, Wilson, and Barnes. 3 players that play up front, all scoring. That's a thing of beauty. Fair play to Eddie Howe, setting them up great. Looks to be doing really good things for Newcastle this season. Are they top 4 contenders though? I don't know. I really don't know yet. We called it a little bit last season where Newcastle we thought were going to drop off, and to be fair, they didn't. Like, there wasn't much pressure around them, but they really kind of held their own. So fair play to Newcastle. 5-1 as an opening result. Confidence is going to be sky high, and I can't wait to see what they do in the next match. Moving off that one and on to the next one. Brighton versus Spurs.
You fucked up. You fucked up.
This one, look, the departure of Harry Kane is not good for any team, except for Bayern Munich because they acquired him. Was I surprised by this result? I probably was. I still thought they may have got a result from it. Richarlison playing up front, for me, he's just a player that hasn't done enough to warrant a start. I was expecting more to see Son kind of playing through up top, but yeah, I'm not surprised that Son was kind of playing wide, but I was hoping to see Son go through the middle and maybe take the reins from Harry and kind of push on, but I don't see Richarlison being the man to do that. Spurs are going to have to go out and sign a number 9, and they're going to have to do it pretty quick because they're going to start needing and relying more on striker goals. Richarlison didn't deliver, so not great. Overall, Brentford, fair play. It is a decent result for them. 2-2 at home against Spurs isn't a bad result, but could they have done more? Could they have possibly won the game? I don't think so. There wasn't much going on in the second half, to be fair. So, yeah, we'll move on from that one because there's not much else to kind of add into that one. The next one. Where do I begin? Chelsea versus Liverpool. Here we go. Because of the memory like a sieve, I wrote down a few notes that I thought I would say, just to refresh my memory. Opening 10 minutes, Chelsea were not confident at all playing out. So what I mean by that is we'll happily take the ball. Thiago Silva will take the ball. Problem that we have is that Conor Gallagher and Enzo Fernandez both stand behind strikers and don't sit into the little pockets. So we don't play the ball out well. Now I'm hoping with the likes of Caicedo, he's going to do that. What a signing, by the way, worth every single penny of 115 million. I'm hoping that he might bring that to us where we can take the ball out. We can advance the ball forward along the ground rather than having to launch the ball, because that's what I found like we were doing a lot. And we were getting ourselves under pressure, needless pressure that we didn't really need to do. And then, yeah, lo and behold, we'd launch the ball and we'd fucking lose it up top. Gallagher, again, I love to see him because his work rate is unbelievable. Up until the final whistle, his work rate until the very end, he's always running. He's always flying into tackles. You can see sometimes he gets tired, but I don't mind that because you know he's giving it his all, which is something that Mason Mount really didn't do last season. And United fans aren't going to want to hear that, but they didn't do it last season. So happy with Gallagher. Extremely open at the back playing 3. So we played a 3-4-3 was kind of what we were going for, with Diassi at the kind of the right of the centre, Thiago Silva, and then we had, who was our other centre half? Colwill. Colwill got absolutely molested by Mo Salah in the first half.
Boys get raped too.
Anytime the ball was played in the top, Chilwell was too high, Reece James was too high, Colwill was getting dragged out, he was getting left one-on-one every time, Salah would beat him every time, and it was just so dangerous. And lo and behold, that's where they got their first goal from. Salah cuts in, plays that ball in. Unbelievable pass, by the way. But great finish by Diaz. A little bit on the stretch. Very hard to do. But overall, Chelsea needed to tighten up and something had to change. And you could see it after about 10, 15 minutes. It looked like Poch made a slight adjustment on the positioning of Chilwell and Reece James and tightened up the defence a little bit more as well. From that point on, Chelsea controlled the game, dominated the game. Liverpool fans will call for a handball and will say that they should have had a penalty. No. Ask my bollocks. I get the whole, like, his hand was up here, but his hand is up here within the quarters of his body, let's say. Like, not out outside, right there, right in front of his chest. Ball comes over, whoever it was in front of him, can't remember, went for the header, completely missed it, airballed it, and then it hits his hand. And look, he gained no advantage from that hitting his hand anyway, so if Anthony put himself in more danger, so you can fuck off with that penalty. No support, so have here no support from Ben Chilwell for Colwill, which was standard. One of the highlights of the match for me was Mo Salah being taken off in the 75th minute and thrown an absolute strop, because it was funny as it was that he was going mad, but then the crowd got involved, and when he started ripping the tape off, so he'd rip a bit of tape off, throw it on the ground, whee, rip a bit of tape, throw it on the ground, whee, rip a bit of tape, throw it on the ground, whee, and eventually gets onto the sideline. Klopp ignores him. He sits there. He's throwing his arms up in the air. It's not something you want to see as a Liverpool fan, but it's something that's hilarious as a neutral or a Chelsea fan. Not much else to add there. The Chelsea goal was very lucky, I'd say. Raheem Sterling probably had the first good 45 minutes that I've seen him play in a Chelsea jersey. He was actually pretty good. Still loses the ball a lot, and the end product isn't fantastic, but he was slipping into good positions, picking up balls, advancing it forward, playing little passes, which was good to see. Him and Reece James were linking up well. Overall, happy with that. The one thing I was shocked by was that Mudryk hadn't started. I was very surprised that Mudryk didn't start this game. He's been on fire all pre-season. He had a great summer because he went to the under-21s with Ukraine and scored a couple of goals. His confidence was high. I think Poch might be just nurturing him a little bit. He might just be protecting him slightly. Didn't want to fuck him in here. I think you'll probably see him starting in the next game or two as well. Came on and was popping balls in, got the ball, ran at them, popped it past 3 players. It was great to see, and that's what I would have expected to see for most of the game, but obviously he didn't play. As I said, Diassi's goal, very lucky. A good header back into a dangerous position, and he kind of scuffs it bottom corner, but we'll take it. 1-1. Chelsea, very unlucky. Jackson had a couple of good chances. Everybody will finally see what I'm talking about when I say Chelsea are back and Jackson is the man that's leading the line, because some of the touches he got, unbelievable. Finishes, look, he could have done better on a couple of them, but he's getting in their positions. One of the chances he had, I think he drove past about 3 players, and he just went direct straight at Alisson. And Gary Neville even commented on that. He loves to see that type of thing from a striker. You have to have confidence to do that. He has it. Bursted forward, and it was good save by Alisson. But very optimistic for Chelsea, and this isn't a bad result to start off the season. I think Liverpool will see that as a point gained rather than 2 points dropped. So that's all I've got to add on that. I think Liverpool need to strengthen still. Chelsea, obviously, after signing Caicedo and Lavia, by the looks of it, it is Tuesday, so hopefully by the end of this podcast, here we go, and Fabrizio is announcing it. But we won't know until probably later on anyway. But hopefully Chelsea are just hijacking all Liverpool's players, taking the opposition out of that forward spot, giving it to us, baby. We're back into Champions League. Let's go. So yeah, Liverpool need to strengthen. Midfield, you could see they were wide open. No defensive midfielder there is killing them. So we can see why we're signing all the defensive midfielders in the world. They really did get exposed. McAllister and Sabasai, whatever the fuck his name is, really not defensive players. They're kind of playing in a bit more of an advanced role. So I can understand why gaps are shown there. So overall, that's all they need to do. I think they need to fix that, and then maybe they kind of need a number 9 as well. They do need a number 9. So that's where I'd improve them on. Right, we'll move off that one on to the next game and on to the last game of the week. Manchester United and Wolves. That's the wrong scoreline.
You fucked up. You fucked up.
Manchester United and Wolves. Where do I begin with this one? I was watching this one in good detail last night, and I said to myself, do you know what? I've made notes on the Chelsea game. I think I'll make some notes on the Liverpool game, the Manchester United game. So I'll read them through, and we can kind of have a little look at what I thought at the time. It may have changed over the course of the game, but it was what I was thinking at the time of doing it. First one we have is Anthony so wasteful with the ball, and United looking lost going forward. This is true. Anthony, to me, is a flashy player that needs to really work on his final ball, his final pass, his end product as a whole. I'm not that impressed with him. I can see why people love him. He gets a little step over, blah, blah, blah. He'll be 1 or 2 players. But if he can't put the ball into the box, and you can't do it safely and you can't do it well, then look, I don't think it's good. Rashford, in my opinion, is nowhere near as effective going through the middle. I think you need to have him out wide, and lo and behold, he ends up out wide, and it's a lot more dangerous. In terms of Wolves, I thought Neto was brilliant. I think he's probably going to be the one that, if they are going to stay up, which I don't know if they will because I put them in my bottom three, he might be the man to drag them out of a hole. He's very good, very energetic. If he could stay fit as well, that's another thing. What else have we got here? Overall, Wolves, the better team, but a good win for Manchester United. When you play bad and you get 3 points, you fucking run for the hills and you say, do you know what? I'll take it. We won't look back at the negatives. We'll take it positive and we'll go. Moving on to the incident that everybody is talking about. Onana coming out and absolutely flattening a Wolves player. I think it was Kilman. Nowhere else on the pitch can you do something like this and it not be a foul. The keepers are so protected. It's a shambles. And Ryan Mason, and what's his name? Jonathan Moss has come out and apologized to Gary O'Neill because he made the wrong decision. That is absolute bollocks. I would have accepted that if there was no VAR. I would have accepted that if the lino maybe contradicted him and the two of them were in a bit of a disagreement and he went his way and there was no video evidence of that. VAR had a look at that. I want to know at what point in that conversation in the VAR room were they going, right, hold on, we have to have a look at this. This could be a potential penalty. Yeah, look, it doesn't look great. And then one guy goes, wait, do you know what? That's not free. That's clean. That's clean. And the rest of them just go, yeah, do you know what? Actually, I think you're right. I don't think that's a free at all. How has that happened? Like, at what point did they get to that conclusion? It doesn't make sense at all. You can clearly see Onana comes out for the ball. The ball is there in the air. He has to travel out. So the ball's not put on top of him. He has to travel out a good 10 yards to get the ball. And he smashes into him. Nowhere near the ball. Smashes into a Wolves player. Takes him out. Mind-boggling how that is not a penalty. Absolutely mind-boggling. But look, you don't get them sometimes. Maybe that's the Manchester United thing. The Manchester United tax, the referee tax is what you have to pay. But if we look back at this at the end of the season and Wolves go down by 1 point or by goal difference, you'd be raging. Gary O'Neill's reaction said it all. He fucking lost the plot. Now I know the refs have new policies. If you do this with your hand to indicate a yellow card, immediate yellow card for yourself. If there's any shenanigans going on by the coaches or the managers, instant yellow card. And that's what happened with Gary O'Neill. He came out today and he said, I actually think it's worse. They've apologized. Now I know I'm right, but I've still got the yellow card for my reaction. And the reaction was justified. So, look, overall, all I can say is Manchester United, off to a better start. 3 points on the board. A good start. I do see them progressing a lot after that game. That might have been just a little bit of a wake-up call. So I don't mind that. So on we go. But what I do want to do is I want to cut across to Big Paddy and I want to get his reaction on the match because I want to know what he thinks.
Hey, BeyondTheBall, chilling out here in Spain. Quick reaction to the games of the weekend. Liverpool, Chelsea. Great to see two mid-table teams dropping points. Won't be any, how would you say, trouble for the top 4 or 5 clubs in the Premier League this season. Then looking at United's game, poor performance, but is it a sign of champions when they're still picking up 3 points and they're playing that bad? We'll take it all day long. This time last season, 0 points on the board, had conceded 4 goals I think against Brighton in the first game of the season. So need definite improvement on performance for the game against Tottenham this weekend. But all in all, I'm a happy man with the result. And on the penalty shout, I think the defender was standing there looking for the keeper to make contact. The keeper had eyes on the ball, so no penalty for me. So see you again next week. I'll have a nice tan and can't wait to get back in the studio and get recording. Bye bye.
Oh my god. Are we accepting that? Is that gonna be the consensus from the United fans? Paddy, we'll have to have a word next week. Okay, well that's it. That is the Premier League review done. And what we are going to move on to now is the fans' opinions.
Fans' opinions.
Okay, so this is the fans' opinion section, a new section we have brought in where we ask questions and we get your reactions to things. So, what we asked this week was thoughts on your team's result in game week 1 and the most surprising result and probably your week 1 highlight. So that's what we have asked. So we'll jump in. We've got a couple of answers that we're going to go through. The first one in is from Darren O'Grady, 33, who was a Manchester United fan. Some of them I know, some of them I don't, so bear with us. United got away with murder, but we will take it. 0 points after 2 games last season. Take 3 points and run. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. Like, you take your 3 points when you played shit, you get your 3 points, you fucking head for the hills. You don't look back. You say, see you later. I'll take them on to the next one. So 100%, Darren is spot on with his analysis of how United done. I don't think many United fans should argue that they didn't. They got away with it. But yeah, fair play to Darren. He's called it as it is. Got away with murder. Again, he's referenced it to last season. 0 points after 2 games. So it's an improvement on last season straight away is what we're looking at. On to the next one, which is Niall Black, 1980, who is a Liverpool fan and one of the annoying Liverpool fans, you know, not that there's a lot of them. Happy with a point against the 900 million Chelsea. Correction, it's 850 million Chelsea, all right? And he's fucking blessed to get that. So let's not forget that. 850 million after the Caicedo deal, which is 115 million. Let's not forget. Yeah, I mean, you would be happy because we bashed you. You got away with murder, as Darren was saying. You got away with murder. But overall, Chelsea finished 12th last season. I'm happy with it. It's a point on the board against the top 4 team. We'll call them top 6 now because there's a lot more that have entered the picture. But yeah, no, we'll take a point as well. I'll run and we'll go on to the next one. Next one, Aaron Singleton, who was a Manchester United fan. Slow start as usual. I think we need someone more athletic / younger than Casemiro in central defensive midfield. That's an interesting one because although you do have one of the best CDMs in the world at the moment, he just doesn't have the energy. I don't think he does. I don't think he has the energy to advance the ball. He's great at breaking up play and he'll do all that kind of dog work. But I think just advancing the ball, it's so underestimated as a central defensive midfielder. And one player in particular who was great at doing it was two, and look, I'm going to be obviously fucking biased here, but N'Golo Kante was great at it, and so was Kovacic. And you'll see it now with Man City. Kovacic's demand to get the ball from the defensive and bring it to the attacking midfielder role, and just it's so underrated that you have someone there to get yourself from a defensive position into an attacking position, and just have the confidence in them to do it. Because you look at who United have. What do they do? Are they going to bring Fernandes back? You kind of lose him going forward then. And then you have Casemiro, who's there, who, let's be honest, I don't know whether United fans are going to agree with me, and you can pull me up on this one if you don't, but his range of passing isn't the best in the world. And that's probably going to touch a nerve with a couple of them because they like to protect him. And I'm not arguing the fact that he's one of the best central defensive midfielders in the world, probably. But his passing range, I don't think is good. You compare him to a Paul Scholes, who sat there and had the passing ability of a god, where he's spraying balls 20, 30 yards. But you could also move that ball 5, 6 yards if you needed to. It doesn't have to be 30-yard diag pass. It can be a 5-yard short pass, a 7-yard fucking diag pass. And, all these things are very underrated as a central defensive midfielder. Everybody thinks tackle, break the ball up. There has to be a little bit more in it. So yeah, fair enough. It's a fair point. We might get Big Paddy's opinion on that next week when he comes back. On to the next one. Mac Attack 24101-783. That's a lot of numbers. Newcastle bouncing Villa. Tonali looks class, we were saying earlier. And in terms of Manchester United, I can't see City worrying about them too much. Yeah, Newcastle again, we said, yeah, it was a very shocking result, but probably not a result. The scoreline was more shocking rather than the actual result. Newcastle again looked very good last season, and so did Villa. But we probably thought Newcastle are the more advanced team in terms of where they want to be between the two. So not surprising that Newcastle won, but again, the surprising thing was the scoreline. Tonali looks deadly. Again, when he came in, I was thinking that this is going to be a great sign, and then I was like, they've got so many players in that kind of area. Is he going to be as effective and as kind of utilized as maybe kind of think he was going to be? Looks so far, one game, one goal. I mean, you can't ask for a better start. In terms of Manchester United, I can't see them worrying about Man City. I can't see City worrying about them. I don't know about that one. It's a premature statement, and I do usually love a premature statement, but I've learned lessons from last season. Being a Chelsea fan, you learn a lot of lessons every single day, and putting my foot in my mouth is one that I usually do. And to be honest, I'm getting bored of it because I'm losing my credibility as a football man. And to be honest with you, Chelsea are going to win the league, so it makes no fucking odds about what City do. And we also are going to pass across to our Mallorca correspondent, Big Paddy, who has an answer to this one as well. So here we have Paddy.
Biggest surprise of the weekend was probably how well Newcastle done against Aston Villa. I knew Newcastle were a good team, but I thought Aston Villa would be much stronger this season. So the way they dismissed Aston Villa was a bit of a surprise. I think Newcastle will be strong again this season. My highlight of the weekend was the United result, I suppose. Very, very poor performance, but we were always going to expect Wolves to arrive at Old Trafford and play on the counter-attack. I think the Spurs game this weekend will suit United better in terms that we'll be in their ground. They'll have to come at us and we will be able to catch them on the counter-attack, which I think is our strength. So I expect United to win this weekend. But yeah, the highlight was definitely a good result to start off. 3 points on the board. Bring it on. Glory, glory, Man United. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I think Paddy has pretty much summed up the whole podcast there in that one video. United lucky to get a result, and also Newcastle being the surprise of the week. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Again, like I said, we're not live at the moment, so we're doing all these recorded shows. This has obviously been clipped a little bit. What you'll see, I've recorded it all in one big go. I hope you appreciate the little bit of extra time that has gone into this. This episode in particular is a 30-minute episode, possibly. After I trim it down, I'm up to about 45 minutes of recording and about an hour and a half of editing stuff and putting it into these graphics that you see. So there is a lot of time and effort gone into this podcast. Please subscribe, please like, please follow. Our TikTok got permanently banned because we posted some shit. You can't win against these big fuckers. So it's the little guys that help me out, that help us grow. So if you can subscribe, follow, like, comment, all that stuff, we really appreciate it. We'll leave it there. Our next episode will be released on possibly Friday, maybe Thursday. Keep an eye out, hit the notification bell because that'll tell you when it comes out. So until we are back then, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see everybody next time.